Good morning on WOTWIP and Coffee, and I do have coffee this morning. I am working on the poncho, but I thought before I started working on that, I told you I purchased that pattern of the Klaus top granny square, and that is that there. It has 4 different granny squares supposedly, although looking through the pattern I have yet to see the other 4. Looks like it's basically the same pattern. And then they, give you instructions on how to put it together. But there are no 4 different squares. It's just one square. She used a size 4 millimeter hook. And throughout the whole thing, she has a lot of videos for you to watch, but you have to take from the pattern, click on that video so that you can watch it, as well as for assembling it and then for the measurements. And I'm sorry, I think the measurements should be included in the pattern. That is a little bit of a problem. She does have some instructions for the star stitch that she uses, and of course she has a video that goes along with it. But the print on this pattern is extremely small. I don't know why she chose to use such a small font. It's not even regular newspaper font, so it can be difficult to read. And I've had to use a magnifying sheet to help me be able to read some of it, which is really unusual because most patterns I can read just fine. But it is a nice pattern. It is a nice way to put it all together. I just have some difficulty with not having the measurements on the pattern itself, having to go to a video to watch that. And then at the very end, she talks about the sizing is, because of the design of the piece, it only fits medium to extra large. And she said you can make adjustments to the pattern to make it smaller by using a smaller hook. You can increase it by doing an extra round of double crochet, those kind of things. And she used 8-4 mercerized cotton, Iggy by Tessaland. Now I haven't looked at that yarn yet, so it's rather interesting. I will be watching it. Looking for it to see, if it's a size 3 yarn. Ronan? He's over here pestering me, trying to stick his claws in my poncho. As you can see, he thinks it's time to play fetch, and we're not playing fetch. So, he'll get over that in a minute. But, yeah, I just have a couple of problems with that pattern because, first of all, for the amount of money that it is, it says there are 4 different granny patterns in that. There's only 1 in that pattern. So, I feel like I already got ripped off, period, right there. Yeah, and, I think before you buy the pattern, you should be able to see the size. She does have some schematics in it, but she doesn't have measurements on it. And I don't think you should have to go to a video to see it. Now, English is not her first language, and that's fine, but you should be able to put those measurements on the schematic, so you can see where it's at, that kind of thing. Other than that, it looks like it's going to be a great pattern. I will work it up, maybe, with a different yarn, different hook. Because I'm pretty sure the yarn that she used is probably a 3-weight yarn. Not positive, but I have an idea it is. In fact, we could probably look it up right now and see what it is. This is an Italian yarn. And on everything that I see for this yarn, it says that you should use a knitting needle 3 to 3.5. For a crochet hook, should be 2.5 to 3. So that tells me it's a pretty thin yarn. I don't see anything that tells me, the weight of the yarn other than that. That's the only reference that I can see on it. And it does look like a very thin yarn. It almost looks like a 2-weight, to be honest. Of course, I don't have any of it, and it is a beautiful yarn, but kind of changes your thoughts on the pattern when you see it. But yeah, that was kind of rather interesting to see that. So, how is everyone dealing with the weather? I see Florida's got snow. Hang on. I was hearing that today it broke the record of 1952 of, 4.5 inches, to where someone said they had 7 at one point. One place had 9 inches. Whew. Talk about strange things. Now, a lot of people would say that's climate change. Now, if my husband were alive, I would also say that he would say that's because of the polar shift. The polar axis moves a little bit each year, and we've had a big shift this last year. And he would say it's more likely due to that than anything else, but whatever, right? But I hope you guys are faring well. I hope that your weather gets back to normal pretty soon. Other than that, enjoy the snow. Have fun. It's a once-in-a-lifetime event, probably, for many people. Maybe twice in a lifetime. If you're older, you might have lived through it the first time. But, yeah, I feel for you folks. I understand what it's like being in an environment that's totally foreign to you. Just stay warm. I know on one of the radio channels I listen to, they were talking about the difference in the weather planes and way that everything is happening, and that a lot of people are totally freaking out by it. And it's not something that's totally unusual. I mean, we used to hear of all kinds of blizzards, from the 30s, 40s, whatnot, into the 50s. And then we kind of went into this period where we didn't have a whole lot of blizzards and those kind of things. And everything was good. But kind of interesting, isn't it? We have seen a lot of weather changes the past couple of years. And some of it, some people believe it's because they are seeding the clouds to create these weather phenomenons. We never know if they are or they aren't, but, we know that it's happening. We've seen that it's happening. They've talked about it. They've talked about the mechanics of doing it and what would happen. I just don't think that they understand that by doing it, that they really mess with Mother Nature. So sometimes what they think is a good thing to bring some rain to an area is not. It actually goes somewhere else, and causes problems. But yeah, interesting. So what are you guys working on today? You got anything planned for your weekend? My weekend, I do plan on going out to get some groceries. And that's about it. Ran out of a couple things, so I need to stock up, restock. And that's what I will be doing, other than cleaning. Because Lord knows I got to get some things done. I do have some things cut out that I would like to get started sewing on. Just haven't felt worthy of it lately. So I'm hoping that I will feel good enough to get back into that and get into some of that. That is my goal anyway. Don't know how well that will work out, but I'm sure going to give it a try. And then, of course, I've been sick all week, so I need to clean. You wouldn't think that two cats, could create such a mess in a house. But they leave their fur everywhere. And I even brush them. So, I have these little small kittens everywhere. Everywhere I turn, I think, what is that white stuff? It's kitten fur, cat fur. They're sharing it with me. Oh, how I love these kittens. We had, this morning when we got up, I'd gone out to start my coffee in my 1-cup coffee maker. And I looked up and there was a deer right at the back door. Right at the back door. And of course runs to the door to try to sniff it and everything else. And of course, the minute I pull out the camera to get a picture of the two of them, the deer takes off up the hill. But I kind of expect that. But that's kind of unusual to see them this time of year. We do see them here and there, just not as much. Mostly it's in the spring and fall that I see them. Summer evenings, they do come down. So, it's kind of kind of strange to see. I have been sitting here thinking of what I want to do with that striped yarn, and I think I'm going to attempt a loaf cat. I don't know how it will turn out, because the eyes might be a little difficult on it, but I'm going to give it a shot and we're going to see what comes of it. One of my goals was to do more amigurumi this year. To feel a little bit more comfortable with it, and hopefully eventually my amigurumi won't look so derpy all the time. I don't know if that's ever going to be a real thing, but it's a goal. So that's what I'm looking forward to doing, getting that done. And then I was looking at some of those other bins that are back here behind me here. Those are out of the tote. The yarn that's up on the top is from the hats that I had done. So I'm including that as something I could use as I go along with each tote. As I work towards my goal, I do need to get some more of these willow squares punched out to see if my plan will work. I am following kind of the idea of this Klaus top granny square pattern, but it's a little bit different because I'm using more squares. So we'll see how it comes. We'll see how it works out, and you guys will see along the process. Might have to add some other colors in there. Never know. Might have to just shake it up a bit. But isn't that what having fun with your stash is all about? Getting work through your stash? I know a lot of people are working on stash busting things this year, and that's always a good thing to do. I probably have a lot of one-off skeins here that I can't replace. Can't get a second skein of it because it's no longer being made. So, the whole idea is to find a way to use them up. Now, I don't know if I told you, in the back, in the craft room, I have that 9 square cube, and it has yarn in it. I didn't include that in the totes or anything, so I'm thinking maybe I need to. I'm not sure how I'll do that. Maybe I will work on this tote here to get it finished down, and then work on those cubes in the back to start working on that kind of thing, get it out of the way. We'll see. Could be interesting, right? Oh. I'm always amazed how interesting these cats are. I have to tell you, I received 2 bags of fabric from a friend, and in those bags she has some fabric that's in little baggies, Ziploc bags that she cut out when she was making. She used to take the jars, and then you would Mod Podge fabric, different things on it, like Penn State, or like she did one that had Elvis. And you would take the small cutouts, place them on the different jars, You drill a hole in the back, and basically you would make those jars the way you wanted to. If you wanted to frost it, you would frost the jar with paint, and then you would take lights and put them up into the jar from the hole in the back so that you could plug them in and turn on that and have that as a showpiece. They're very interesting pieces, but these cats the other day, I looked over and they were licking the outsides of the bags. Just licking. Now they have often come over here. If I have pieces of paper like that pattern, if I'd had that down somewhere where they could get, they might lick it and then they would chew on it. And I'm not sure what that's about. I don't know if it's boredom or I don't know. I don't think they're missing any kind of nutrients in their diet because I give them a pretty stout diet. But who knows? Maybe it's just a quirk of cats. Of course, I got 2 cats that catnip doesn't even faze them. They're like, what is this? Yeah, so get that out of my face. I could care less about it. While other cats go gaga over it. Strange how people react to certain things. It's kind of like with me and the patchouli. And it truly is an allergic reaction to it. Now my husband, he would go into anaphylactic shock if someone that was wearing patchouli was standing next to him or had a perfume that had patchouli in it. He would start having difficulty breathing. Me, my immediate response is to throw up, which can be really unpleasant for the person who is wearing that because generally I'm throwing up on their shoes. So it's kind of crazy. And but those are some of the reactions that I have to certain smells. So I'm wondering, those of you in Florida, are your schools having classes? Are they not having classes? I know that I have a couple of Bible studies each week at different churches. And the one that normally I would have on Thursday, the parking lot was pretty patchy with some ice here and there. Although under the canopy of the front door, you come that way and come downstairs, was fine. But, of course, I didn't go to it. Didn't go to any of the Bible studies this week because I was so sick. And I was like, I'm not passing this on to anyone else. This is awful. Couldn't see anyone else dealing with this. Like I said, it threw me for a loop. And you would think that I could say that I had the best rest I've ever had. No. I mean, I slept more than I have probably in the past year. But did I have good sleep? I can't say that I did. But whatever it is. All right, folks, I need to pause you a minute. So, yeah, just curious about those kind of things. I'm hoping to be able to stay awake long enough today to catch up on a few people. Boy, I really need to catch up on what's going on in the world today. I feel like I'm in a bubble sometimes. Like when I get sick like this because I don't get out, don't see what's going on, don't really watch the news. Part of the reason I don't watch the news is because it's just full of lies. Can't find the truth out of any of them. They bend it the way they want to. So that gets kind of frustrating. See that? You know, the latest one I've seen is everybody saying that Trump had effectively done away with the Equal Opportunity Act when he signed the executive order reversing the DEI. I'm like, oh my God. No, he didn't reverse that. That is a law. The only thing he did was reverse the act that Biden put into place. You know, basically that people should be hired according to their skill level, whether they can do the job or not just based on their color of their skin or where they came from. So, I don't know, there's something to be said for that. You know, I know depending on what kind of job you're looking for, it's like if you've got someone that's looking for a job working with seniors, are you going to take somebody that doesn't understand what seniors go through? That's rough with seniors? Maybe they can't stand being around seniors? You know, are they willing to put up with some of the things that senior people go through and help them get through those? Well, you want somebody that's a little compassionate that can work with seniors. Same thing as if you have someone that is working with people in personal care that needs a little more attention, a little slower movements, those kind of things. You don't want somebody that's always rushing them because that'll just manifest a lot of anxieties and some bad behaviors. So, you know, there are some reasons that you want to base your hiring on the skill level of the person. If you've got a person that has never built code for your banking institution and you need them to build a code to put in a new algorithm or whatever it is, you don't want somebody that's never done it, doesn't know how to do it, you know? I mean, let's be reasonable. And I saw a funny TikTok, a guy, you know, talking about the HR in the federal, all the HR departments in the federal government are just really mad because they don't know where to find anybody that has merit. They don't even know what merit is. So, I don't know, I just find it funny. And I find it kind of funny, the outrageousness of some of the lies that are being spread already. But, you know, the U.S. will have another election in 4 years, and there'll be another new president in 4 years, and we'll be fine, you know? And hopefully he can do something about this outrageous debt to help bring it down. I just find it incredulous that the Biden-Harris administration nearly doubled our national debt. I mean, good grief. And that just, it's no wonder inflation is crazy. And some of it on some pretty stupid stuff. You know, why do we keep paying for all these wars around the world? You know, seems kind of crazy. Especially when you realize that, what was it? Was it 8 or 5? 5 of the generals in the Ukraine army, their mansions were involved in the fires in Los Angeles. Their mansions in Los Angeles. They're Ukrainian war generals. Why do they have mansions in Los Angeles? Makes you go, huh? Was that money really being spent on war? Or was it giving oligarchs more money? So yeah, I don't know. It'll be an interesting 4 years. Especially with all the nonsense that goes on. And all I gotta say is, you guys gotta bring some better candidates to the table. And you gotta stop taking out the ones that are decent, putting in the ones that are corrupt. You know? And I would hope that he is able to do what he says he's going to do. To take out a lot of the corruptness that's in this government. Do I think that's possible? No. I think evil has a foothold in D.C., and it's not going away anytime soon. So, there's that. Have you guys found anything good to watch on TV? Maybe that you're binge watching? Like I was saying yesterday, I have a lot of things that I will sit down and crochet or knit while I'm watching TV. But since I'm not watching TV all that much, I'm up doing little things here and there. And not sitting and crocheting as much as I normally would. So, if you've got anything that you've been binge watching, let me know. I'd appreciate it. Every once in a while I go check what's on Amazon Prime, but I haven't lately. Just haven't got into it. Maybe I should. I think my TV allows me to do it. I have one of those Samsung smart TVs. It's too dang smart for me. Half the time I have to figure out how to use it. And the big thing is, you know, when you go to use YouTube on it, good Lord, that's a mess. But, yeah. Would appreciate your recommendations. What are you doing? Smack the cat around sometimes. Getting into into stuff he shouldn't be. Our church this year is doing a Bible study or Sunday school study on this book called The Daily Doctrine, and it is by Kevin DeYoung. It's a 1-year guide to systemic theology. So I think that's going to be interesting. We're starting that this next Sunday. So that should be a very interesting study as we go. And although that's not the study that I'm going to go to, they have a Sunday school class for first fruits, and I'm going to attend that most of the time. I probably will stop in at that class every once in a while. But, and I'm starting to read through it, and some pretty interesting material. So that's been a little eye-opening to me to see some of that. See something a little different, different viewpoints. And I do like Kevin DeYoung. I do like some of his writings. Just I haven't read as much of him as other people. One of my favorite books was by Phyllis Shearer. I think it was Understanding Discernment from God or something like that. And it came along with a CD. That is a great Bible study. That is just a great study in general, to get under your belt, to understand discerning God's Word and what it means for you, for those of you that are Christian. I was listening this morning when I was getting up also. The radio had also talked about the energy that was used. It was at peak energy on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week because of how cold it was. And they expect it to be the same way today. Now, I think in our area, I think I saw where we're supposed to get up to the 30s. But when I got up this morning, it was like 7 degrees. So I can understand why the energy would be at the peak, usage. But it was interesting, to hear that. And then I follow a gal on YouTube that she's not quite 65 yet. I think she's over 60. She doesn't qualify to start taking Social Security, but she is retired, and she's living on a very strict budget. And it was interesting. She was living in an RV in Rio Grande area, and they had the electricity go out because of the power grid issue. And she had a gas propane in her unit. She had set that oven on 200 to help heat the unit a little bit, but she said it was really cold there. Her and her cat were cold. They were bundled under the blankets and just really cold. So it's interesting to hear that. So she's down in Texas in that area. And it's interesting to hear that they had power outages. But then again, they use Xcel Energy lots of times down there. And Xcel has a lot of issues. A lot of issues with price gouging and going offline way too many times. I don't know what the deal is with that, but I do remember my daughter was on Xcel when she was alive in New Mexico, and there were all kinds of issues. Now I know when I went in to pay the last bill, take her name off of it, they did, because I had her death certificate tell me we'll just waive the rest of the fees, until the cutoff date. Don't worry about it. That was the only good thing about it. Other than that, there were a lot of issues. And I know that when my daughter was alive, several times we would have to go in and pay electronically the bill for her because she didn't have any way to pay it. So we would do that off and on to get her back, keep her from losing the heat and stuff for the kiddos, because you never want that to happen. And yeah, it was just interesting. And of course, we had to pay the gas a couple times for her. They use natural gas a lot in New Mexico, and it is a much better heat source. Will you stop? He's attacking my yarn. It's a much better heat source, provides a little more moisture in the air, and you don't have a lot of that static electricity that you get with electric heat, those kind of things. I know I have to run a humidifier in the winter, because just getting up and walking over, to the light switch many times, when I go to hit it, I'll get that spark, and it's like, good grief. And I do not have carpeting in this house. So that kind of makes it a little more interesting, having to deal with it that way. Oh boy, how did I do that? Well, just fix it that way. I can't do that. I gotta rip it out, all the way out. Dadgummit. I skipped a stitch. There. So I'm gonna rip it all the way back to it. Let me get a marker. So I know where I'm going to. Oh well. Boo-boos. They happen. There goes what? A good 30 minutes worth of work? Normally I wouldn't even worry about it. But I'm not sure how to fix that. This pattern uses a lot of V-stitches. In fact, that is what basically you're doing all the way around on this. So when you skip the other leg of the V-stitch, it really makes a difference. Boy, does it. That's okay. You live and you learn, right? Good thing is it's easier to rip out with crochet than knitting. Definitely. Oh, goodness gracious. Now my arm is tired. from all that ripping out. Goodness gracious. Oh well, stuff happens. Like I said, mistakes are made. Then you move on, you correct your mistake, and keep going. Oh. I don't know about you, but with the prices of things that are going on, I know that I'm looking for different ways to save a few dollars, make a few things that are healthier. You know, like one of the things is I no longer buy creamer. I make my own creamer, and I have canned it before so that I can have it later on. And one of my favorites is creme brulee. Goodness. And of course, since I'm making it myself, I can also make it sugar-free, or mostly sugar-free, low sugar, instead of having all that sugar and all those oils in it. I don't know if you've looked at the creamers and what they're made of. I don't think they're creamers, they're mostly made of oils, hydrogenated oils. And I know the one thing that used to bother me with a certain brand is they would use a lot of palm oil, and I don't like the taste of palm oil. I'm very sensitive to it, so I would taste it and think, ew, this is nasty. And, you have to learn to live with it or live without it. So at that point, I had started using heavy whipping cream, which is my preferred cream of choice, but goodness. All those people being on keto has driven the price up. That's so high that it's ridiculous. I mean, it used to be you could get a large carton, a quart of heavy cream for like $5. About $6. Now it's like $10. And the little small containers are close to $5 each. I'm like, okay, well, we got to find another alternative to that. So now I make my own creamers. And you can change the flavors. And of course, I like changing the flavors up because I can use some of the sugar-free syrups to sweeten it to make it different flavors. About to run out of time, so I got to pause you a minute. And, one of the other things is looking at things to buy at Dollar Tree. They're a little bit cheaper. Like the Campbell's chicken noodle soup. It's way cheaper at Dollar Tree. You get a larger can and goes a little bit further. Like when I get a can of it, it serves me two meals. And some of the other soups they have. Now, some of the other things they have in there, I think are nasty. Like they've got a chili. Well, I haven't tried the chili. I can't say that about the chili. One of these times I might have to actually try it to decide whether or not it's worth it. I've seen a lot of people use it, and use it to make chili dogs. So maybe I should try it. But they have a beef stew there by Southside or something like that. It's horrible. It's not worth the money. But they have a couple of good deals in there. And I noticed now that they're getting in the canned turkey, canned chicken, and also the packets of chicken, so that's good. I have to laugh because people talk about getting the ribeye steaks at Dollar Tree. And I think they're $3 for a packet for 2 of them. Well, they're like really thin, small steaks. But if you want a steak, ribeye steak, that might be the way to go with it. Of course, you know my way to go with that is to buy a big prime rib and just cut it up into my steaks. But a lot of people don't do that. And there are a lot of ways you can tenderize steak that people don't realize. And should give it a try. And steak is my favorite food. It really is. Chicken is second. Do you like the taste of pork? Now, I have gotten a couple of times pork loin when it's been on sale or marked down, and then I will cut it into pork chops or just smaller pieces for me, instead of using the whole loin, cutting it up so it makes several meals. Of course, if I take a chunk like that, put it in the crock pot with some seasonings to make pork barbecue. That serves me, quite a few meals. But I always think it's funny. I have a friend who she tells me she shops for about half of her groceries at Dollar Tree. So, guess it just depends, I know she tells me that she likes the little potato cakes they have, so she buys those every month to include, in her meals. Like, whatever works for you. And then, of course, it's always fun just to go through Dollar Tree, see what kind of knickknacks they have in there. The only problem with it when you walk in the store is you got to be careful because they'll get you. You're like, oh, that's a cute little hanger, to put up on the wall or something. Oh, I think I'll get it. It's only $1.25. Then by the time you've gone through the store, you've got 30 of those and you're walking out of the store with about, a $45, $50 price tag. So you got to know what you're going in for when you're going into the Dollar Tree to purchase items. That's what I got to say. Just got to be careful. And of course, one of the big things that I always do when I go through there are certain toys that I do get for the Operation Christmas Child. The dice game, I'll always pick up that. Cards. They usually have a 2-pack of playing cards. Sometimes they have the small Unos. I will pick those up. Uno is a universal game around the world. And it doesn't matter if it's a little mini one, or the regular size one. But generally I'll pick those up. Sometimes those Etch-a-Sketches that they have, I'll pick those up. Where's some of the other things? The little Barbie cases that they have. And sometimes they have some good Barbie clothes, accessories, so you could add those in. The little stuffies are always good. Those are good stuffies to use to make for loveys as well, to put in some of the boxes. And of course, the little block sets that are compatible with Legos. You can build a great little Lego set for the kiddos to play with that. So generally we'll build a box or two with those. And I think the total cost for building a decent box of Legos for the kids to play with. Runs you about $7.75 each, which isn't too much to spend, that way on a good quality toy for the kids. And yes, I know a lot of people say it's Dollar Tree, it's not quality. Well, I disagree. There are some things in Dollar Tree that I've had for years and have used for years. I know one of the things that I got for my nephews was a bug hunting set or something. Had a little net with it to catch the bug, a little case for you to put the bug in, a magnifying glass for you to look at the bug. That kid played with that toy for over a year. And the only thing that happened to it was he left it somewhere that when his mother was mowing the grass, it got decimated. Otherwise, he probably still would have had that toy. Of course, now that he's a grown man, I don't think he'd have that toy. But you never know. But, yeah. And there are some things that are, decent about their prices. A lot of the plates and things, if you want to do different scenes for your plates, it's a nice, cheap way to go about getting a set of dishes. Although I would probably go to Goodwill to find some decent dishes. I've often found china and crystal there at the Goodwill for like 39 cents a piece or $5 for a full set of dishes. Now, have I bought them? No. Because I have a set of dishes that works fine for me. Now, if I were to have company over at the house, I wouldn't have enough dishes to serve. So I would probably have to purchase more dishes. But I don't have a lot of company here, so I'm not worried about it. I have a project that I want to do. Thomas had an old, I want to say it was a shelf. It was a shelf that he and his dad built out of wood. And they'd painted it blue on the outside, and it had white shelves in it. And then when he'd gotten the TV, they had just cut this rough hole in the back of it for the backing that they had, so that they could put all the wires through there for the TV and whatnot. But I would like to take that and paint it black and use it kind of as a place for me to put my different bags. What I mean by that is I have a couple of different Bible studies, so I have different bags set up for those Bible studies where I take different, I don't always carry the same notebook, those kind of things, because the Bible study is a different one. And of course, BSF is a totally different one because there's a notebook that you use, work out of. So I would like to be able to set those bags in that shelf so that I know where they're at, can find them easily, and it's easy reach. I'm just not sure how the cats will deal with it. But it's not been warm enough for me to go out and paint those shelves. I've cleaned them up. I just haven't gotten to the point where I can take them outside to paint them. I was like, oh, well, maybe I can use it in the meantime regardless. At least it looks a little bit more organized. Don't like the color of the blue. It's a well, shall we say it's Tar Heel blue? It's okay. It's a nice color blue. But it doesn't really go with the rest of the house and stuff, so. That's part of the reason I would like to change it to black. A lot of the bookshelves that I have here in the house are black bookshelves. Just because I think black is one of those things that is neutral in many ways. So, yeah. Just haven't got that done yet. But I have a feeling the cats would find that shelf a nice place to hide in and to play at the same time. But we'll see how that works out. Well, guys, I think I have been chatting on long enough. So I am going to let you go for now. And I will see you again soon. In the meantime, I hope everybody has a great week. And I hope you're staying warm wherever you're at. See you guys soon. Bye.